Hello, my name is Kate Thompson and I am a children's author. Now I wanted to make this video to mark a very special week, Children's Mental Health Week, which is organised by the charity Place to Be. And I'll pop their website details down below this video so you can go and check out all the wonderful resources they've produced to help support this week. Now Children's Mental Health Week in 2024 has the theme, My Voice Matters. How amazing is that? Did you know that the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child specifically states that every single child, that means every single child watching this video, has the right to express their views and opinions, and to have those views and opinions listened to by grown-ups and taken seriously. So this is a right that every single child has, and the aim of this week is to empower children to use their voice, to really talk about things that are important to them, to talk about their feelings, to talk about changes they would like to see in the wider world, or simply the world that they live in, their community, whether that's school, home, or the society that they live in. Now, sometimes using your voice to speak up about things can be difficult, can be scary. And that's one thing I wanted to talk to you about today, because I have written 2 picture books, and the first one of these is this one, Superheroes Don't Get Scared, or Do They? And you can see that all the wonderful illustrations in this book, give you a little flick, lots of colour, are produced by Claire Elsom, a really, really talented illustrator. Now in this book, our main character, Maisie, learns that everyone gets scared sometimes, even superheroes. And that's perfectly normal and okay. And actually, it's when we choose to take steps to face those fears that we are empowered and become super brave, like superheroes. So if there is something that you want to use your voice to talk about, but that is a scary thing, please know that you're not alone in feeling scared, and that it's okay to feel scared. But if you can, take steps to use your voice, your really important voice that you have the right to use, wonderful things can happen. Not only will you be super brave, but you really, really do have the power to change the world. Now, part of using your voice to express yourself is also understanding that other people also have voices and the rights to use them. So another side of this week is learning to listen. Listen to your friends. Listen to the things they might be saying. And then this brings me to my second book that I have out, Superheroes Always Fight Back, or Do They? Which is a book all about the wonderful power of kindness and empathy. And in this book, Arthur learns that actually he has the power to change the world around him, not by using violence, but by using his own powers of kindness, his own powers of empathy, of listening to other people, of considering how they might feel in that situation. And we even have one superhero in here called Super Soundwave, who in fact uses her superpowers exactly in this way. She creates a space and some time for these characters here to talk about what is bothering them. So as we can see here, it says, she knows these baddies don't get heard. It's tough when you're so small. And once she starts to listen, no one stamps or stomps at all. I wonder if you can think of a time when maybe you felt like your voice was too small, that it was drowned out in the volume of other people's voices, and that maybe that made you feel small yourself inside and having no power. And sometimes, not always, that can make us behave in ways that maybe we wouldn't behave otherwise if we felt like we were being listened to. Well, a big part of Children's Mental Health Week is learning that we have the right to express our voices and we have the right to be heard. And making other people, grown-ups and people around us, know that it's important to make the space, to create that silence, that time, where we feel that we have the ability to use our voice to talk about what is important to us. Now, so maybe this Children's Mental Health Week you'll take a little bit of time to think about how you might want to use your voice, what things are important to you to talk about, and how you might help create that space, that time, that opportunity for those around you to also use their voice to talk about things that are important to them. Now, to support this week, I have created a little superhero activity that you might like to do that will sort of start as a launching point for conversations about things that are important to us, things that we like, things that we don't like. So if you want to follow on, I'll skip over to that activity in just a moment. Hello, welcome back to my Children's Mental Health Week, My Voice Matters superhero activity. Now, in this activity, we are all going to have a go at creating our very own superhero. But not just any superhero, a superhero version of ourselves. Now, when we're drawing this superhero, the design of the superhero is going to reflect two things. First of all, the things that we really like. So we're going to think about how that might influence our superhero's design and how they look. And secondly, the things that we don't like. And again, we'll come up with some creative ways for how that might be shown in our superhero design. And when that's done, you'll have a superhero that really reflects the things that are important to you. So a great thing to do after you've all got your wonderful designs is to share them with the class. And then you can learn lots of new things about what's important to you and your friends and share them with each other. And what will be really interesting is you'll see that no two superheroes will be exactly the same. Everyone is different. And that is what's so wonderful about discovering that you have this voice that matters, this voice that is unique to you. And that's what makes it so important for you to use that voice in the world. So I think I've chatted for long enough. I'm going to get started. So I am going to do this really simply. So I'm going to start off by drawing just an outline of a superhero. You can do yours however you like. Mine's going to look a little bit like a gingerbread person. I like to keep things simple. So I start with the head. And just be aware, this won't be perfect, and that's what makes it unique and brilliant. So don't worry if your drawing has its own little quirks, that is what makes them brilliant. I've got a head, I might give myself a little neck. I'm going to have this, like here. I wonder what this could be. And look, they're not even, that's all right. This is going to be my arms because I don't know if you know, there's such a thing as a superhero pose. And that is where we put our arms on our hips. On our hands on our hips like this. It's looking a little bit strange at the moment, but don't worry, it will all make sense soon. So I'm going to draw my body. And that body's going to continue down past the hands into some lovely feet. And there we have an outline of a very quirky superhero. Oh, I did one leg a little bit long. Could have left it like that and change it like that. So what else do we need to add to our superhero? Well, I quite like smiling. So I think I'm going to draw myself as a smiley superhero. Yes. And I need a nose for smelling. And I need some eyes. Now I could draw my, there we go. Now I could draw my glasses, but actually I have an idea about what I want to do about that later on. Now I really like making, really thinking about all the accessories I give my superheroes. And in my first book, Superheroes Don't Get Scared, that if you can see, I've got a superhero who wears super specs. She's called Spectacular. So I'm thinking that I might do something like that. So for the moment, I'm not going to be wearing my glasses. So I'm going to add some hair. Now you can make the hair on your superhero like your own hair. You can colour it in. Mine's just going to be black for the moment, but obviously if I was doing my hair, I might use some yellow. Or you can make it however you like. You might want to have rainbow hair as a superhero. So I'm just going to do it very simply like this. Because it's coming together now. It's beginning to look a little bit like me. Look. Okay. So I think I'll go from there to make myself into my superhero. So the first thing I want to think about is, what things do I like? What things do I want to show the world through my picture that I like? I want to express my voice about what things I like. Now, one of the things I really like doing is, I really love swimming. I love playing in the water. I like doing forward rolls in the water. I like diving in. I wonder if any of you like that as well. So I think my superhero might have some water-based superpowers. Now, what I might do for this is, I might give my superhero some really big feet like this. And actually, in the real world, I do have big feet. So this is actually quite realistic. And we could even do it like flippers, couldn't we? And what that will mean is that our superhero can swim really, really fast. So maybe if there was a baddie trying to escape the scene of a robbery in a submarine, superhero me would catch them. So what else? As I said, so my superhero is going to be, maybe have underwater superpowers. So I'm going to give myself some super goggles. So we can make them really chunky like this. You see? And these super goggles are going to be amazing. They will never leak. They will never mist up. And even, I think I might give them a little button on the side here. That means when I press it, I get like a zoom power, so I can see things from miles away underwater. That is very cool. Now, it might be that swimming isn't your thing. Maybe you really like running. So you might give yourself really, really long legs to show that you really love running really, really fast. Or you might really like drawing. So then you could give yourself a lovely tool belt with lots of different pens and pencils, and maybe those pens and pencils would be super pens and pencils. So maybe, for example, whatever you draw comes to life. So you can really use your imagination when you're creating your superhero versions of you to really incorporate the things that you like into your superhero design. So another thing that I really like, I don't know if you would, is I really like animals. So I have got a cat at home, and I really love snuggling up with her. And sometimes I think I would really, really like to know what she is thinking. Or maybe I wouldn't, but it would be interesting. So I think my superhero might have also some animal superpowers. So I'm going to give myself a lovely big chunky belt. And on that belt, I think I might have some pouches which will be full of all sorts of different treats for all the animals that I might come across on my missions. And not only that, I think that my superhero, a version of me, will be able to talk to and understand animals. Now, this is quite a hard thing to show in a picture, but I might actually make my logo. You can see here on my shirt I've got stars. I might put my logo, an animal themed logo, because sometimes, I don't know if you've noticed on superheroes, the picture on their chest can give us a clue as to what their superpowers will be. So in Superheroes Don't Get Scared, Spectacular has glasses on her shirt, which kind of gives us a clue that her power is linked to her vision, her glasses. And in Superheroes Always Fight Back, Super Soundwave has the international sign for hearing loss on her top, because her superpowers are linked to her listening abilities. She wears ultra hearing hoops, which are like superhero hearing aids. And we've got Gigglequake here, whose power is the power of giggles. So he's got like a laughing face. So you can have a lot of fun coming up with your logos. So I think I might make mine a rabbit, because I'm quite good at drawing rabbits. There we go. And that's my logo. But also you can show it in other ways. So for example, I could do like sound waves coming out here from the mouth. And you could also do sound waves coming out from the ear to kind of show that they've got some kind of listening and talking ability. Now, of course, you've got lots more time than me, so you could spend lots more time theming all your outfits, adding lots of other details. So you might have some kind of special watch here that does special things. So what, for example, could a superhero, oh, I know, I could add another thing that I like into the share even more of my views on the world. So something that I really, really love eating, so that's something you could integrate. So what foods do you really love? I really, really love pasta. So maybe my superhero has a really chunky wrist accessory like this. And when I press this button, guess what shoots out? Spaghetti. Spaghetti shoots out, and it can act like a lasso and catch. Should we put a little birdie in here? Birdies, and stop them in their tracks. And then obviously, if my superhero version of me fancies a snack, you can just put it onto a plate. That sounds like a pretty awesome superpower. So maybe your favourite food is broccoli. So maybe you'd have something like that, or where you could fire broccoli out and maybe they'd grow to the size of trees and block the path of a baddie when they're trying to escape. Or you might have pizza that acts as like a kind of frisbee that kind of slows the baddies down and holds them in a force field. There's lots and lots of fun things you can do. So now that I've done some of the things I really like and that I can share afterwards and explain, I can now have a think about the things maybe I don't like. So one thing that really bothers me is I'm not very good when there's a lot of noise. It really makes it hard for me to concentrate. A bit like Super Soundwave actually, I have hearing loss, so I am completely deaf in my right ear. So I can only hear in one ear. So when it gets really, really noisy, it makes it really, really hard for me to focus, for me to hear other people around me. So I think that my superhero might have some really, really super powered ear defenders that it can just pop on when the sound gets a little bit too much. They can focus on their superhero duties or just relax. So I'm going to do that here. So although they can hear animals, maybe sometimes the animal noises get too much and they just need to be able to switch off, like we all do sometimes. Maybe they're reading a really good book or trying to do some writing. So these, and you can make them really jazzy because it's a superhero. So you can make it all spiky maybe, like this. And if I had colours, I might make it really, really colourful. But yeah, I've got my superhero has some lovely ear defenders. So when everything gets a little bit too much, a little bit too overwhelming, she pops on her super powered ear defenders and calm and focus happens. And I think that sounds amazing. Now, another thing that I don't like is that although I really, really love swimming, I really don't like being cold and wet. So as you might have noticed, I haven't actually put a cape on my superhero yet. So I think that my cape is going to be no ordinary cape. My cape is going to be a fluffy towel cape that when my superhero comes out of the water, immediately wraps around my superhero and dries instantly and is always warm. So my superhero never has to have that horrible feeling that sometimes you get when you get out of a swimming pool. You're so cold and wet. So I'm going to draw that on now. And again, if I had a bit more time and some colours, I could make this really, really, I'm going to do some lines here to make it all fluffy. Really, really colourful and have a lot of fun with it. And that's something you can do. So we'll just show it's tied around her neck like this. That sounds amazing, doesn't it? A lovely fluffy cape. Now, another way that my superhero could help themselves with their superpowers after getting out of the water, and I think this is actually a really important power for a superhero who does a lot of their missions in the water, is to have magical hair. Magical hair that dries immediately. So that is something that my superhero has. And that's quite hard to show in a picture as well. But maybe it's just something we have to remember. Or you could put, if you've got things like that you can't show using accessories, you could always put a little note in the corner with a little picture that reflects that. So for example, I could show that with a... Can you guess what this is? Hopefully. So it's going to blow out hot air. A hairdryer. So my superhero doesn't need a hairdryer because their hair, as soon as they get out of the water, goes and is dry. Brilliant. So you can see here that even with just a few moments of thinking about things that I like, and things that I don't like, I have come up with a really, really cool superhero, Kate. And then if I had people to share it with, I could sit back and I could talk about each aspect of my superhero, and it would help me give voice to things that I like, that I don't like, things that are important to me. And as a result, people around me might learn new things about me. They might know that actually sometimes I do get a bit overwhelmed with noise, and they might be more conscious of that. And likewise, you, when you're sharing your superhero designs, will learn things about your friends, about your teacher, about your teaching assistant that maybe you didn't know before, and that maybe could help you change your behaviours to make their world a little bit better. Now, once you've made your superhero and you've shared it with your class, you have an awesome character to maybe try and make your very own superhero story. So if you do have a go at making these pictures first of all, and then maybe even going on to make a whole story using your super versions of you, showing maybe how you spoke up and used your voice to change the world as your superhero, I would love to see them. So please do feel free to share them on social media via your teachers, and you can tag me, and I'll put a little link up at the end with all my different social media handles, because I really, really do love to see anything created by children, because I think that writing and drawing is a fantastic way to use your voice to express yourself. If maybe you can't find the words, or maybe you can't quite yet find the courage to speak up and use your actual voice, this is a really good starting point. And it's also a lot of fun. So I really do hope you enjoy my Children's Mental Health Week, My Voice Matters superhero activity.